Creation meets science. I love this image. It's the sun breaking over the surface of the earth. A new day is dawning. I look at our planet and I stand amazed at what God has done. What beauty lies on this planet, from the high volcanic peaks of Indonesia to the blue waters of the Whitsunday Islands, the dry deserts, the reefs teeming with life, colorful hot water springs, gushing waterfalls, rainforest full of life, and snow-topped peaks. All of this makes up the beauty and the diversity of our planet. But it's not just that natural beauty of landscapes, it is also the teeming life all over the planet. Tigers, small microorganisms, birds, fish, all of them fill the planet. Every corner of our planet is filled with life. There is no other planet that has any life on it. It makes our planet absolutely remarkable. Have you ever thought about people? There are so many of us, so many different colors, many different cultures. Every facial expression is unique. Every thumbprint is unique. Every iris is unique. Every person uniquely made. And the Bible says, uniquely made in the image of God. If you ask yourself big questions in life, you have to ask yourself, where does all of this come from? There was a really smart man called George Lemaitre. He was a French scientist. But if you have a look at his clothing, you'll see he's wearing a really interesting collar. That collar is worn by Roman Catholic Christian priests. He wondered the same thing. I wonder where all of this beauty and wonder came from. The world is so amazing. Where did it come from? Now you will see he is wearing on his clothing lots of medals. These are scientific medals for what he found out. They are awards for someone who has made a breakthrough in science that no one even anticipated. Because at the time, when George Lemaitre was wondering this, the main idea in the world was that the earth and the universe had always existed, never had a beginning, it never had an end, and there was no creator. George Lemaitre wondered about this because if he read the Bible started with, in the beginning, God created the heavens and earth. So he started doing research into the best science of his day. And he came up with scientific theory of the expansion of the universe from nothing. There was absolutely nothing, and it was compressed so small that no one could even see it. It was so small, we would say that it didn't existed, and then everything happened. When scientists heard this back then, they laughed at him and said, "This is ridiculous. What are you going to call that? A Big Bang Theory?" Now, if you listen to the theme song of Big Bang Theory, the show, you will hear it is all the words that describe this theory by George Lemaitre. George Lemaitre wanted to find out through science how God created the heavens and the earth. His theory today is the widest accepted scientific theory that turned over science because he believed that God created the universe, that the universe actually had a beginning, and now science has proven it. It started from nothing. The Bible says that too. In the beginning, there was nothing, and God created from nothing. The Bible starts with, God said, "Let there be light." Suddenly, from that little dot, smaller than anything that we could ever think, emanated forces of light that spread over the whole universe. The light spread out so quickly that within 2 seconds it had formed a large section of the universe already. But it was really important that it had to happen at exactly the right speed. If it went too quickly, there would be nothing but vapors. If it went too slowly, it would be a very wobbly, blobby mess. It just sped up at the perfect speed. At that same moment of creation, there were 4 laws that govern the universe that had to come into effect at exactly that same time. The strong nuclear force, the weak nuclear force, the electromagnetic force, and gravity. If all 4 of them did not start existing at exactly the moment that creation started, nothing we know could exist. They all exist because we are here to have this discussion. Now, the Big Bang Theory said that there was a Big Bang and everything inflated, and then if you listen to the Big Bang Theory song, it says that one day it will all probably implode back on itself. So scientists have no real proof of that, but they kind of work out mathematically that that's the way it should work. So God created this universe through an expansion. Throughout the whole universe, this whole pattern of dark matter started spreading and creating the universe as we know it. Scientists can't track dark matter at all because it is something that we know exists, but we can't actually capture it or see it at all. With that rapid expansion, suddenly the gravitational forces started creating massive spirals of gravity. This is an artist's impression of what our beautiful solar system, our galaxy looks like. It's called the Milky Way. Now this is the Milky Way galaxy, and we are probably stuck out here in some of the small arms. If you look up in the night sky and you see that whole line, you are actually looking into the interior of our galaxy. There are hundreds of millions of stars in our galaxy. We're sitting right here in the perfect place where the radiation is not so strong that it would wipe out all life, but it's also not so weak and cold that we will not have any radiation. It's right there in the perfect spot. As everything cooled down and the gravitational pull started, our planet was formed in a small solar system, and what scientists think is that a chunk of it was ripped out and became our moon. The moon has an incredibly important job. It keeps the axis of the Earth in the right place, but it also mixes up our seawater so that it doesn't become stale. It just keeps turning and turning and turning day and night. That causes our tides and makes the oceans viable for life. Our planet also has another special feature. The magnetic field around our planet forms like a force field. It is a force field that protects us against the radiation of the sun, which is like a microwave oven that would have fried any life. You can actually see that if you go to the North Pole or the South Pole, and there are lights that play called the Northern Lights or the Aurora Borealis, or in the Southern Hemisphere, the Aurora Australis, which are actually the vapors of the radiation from the sun that bounces off the force field around our planet. How amazing that our planet is created like that. Now, if you look at this pattern, at the top is a scientific description of what they think the phases of creation of the earth looked like. At the bottom is a picture that talks about the creation from the Bible's perspective. What the Bible is trying to explain is not science. The Bible is trying to explain that God created the earth. Everything in the universe was created by God, and it was made in an orderly fashion so that there would be plants for the animals to eat, so that the animals could live. And finally, God created the crown of his creation, man, human beings. It says that unlike the animals, God fashioned us from the earth and then blew his life-giving breath into us. And it's that little spark of God that is in every one of us. Consciousness, the fact that we can ask questions and know that we are alive, unlike your dog or your cat that's just waiting for you to get home. They're very happy to see you and they want food. But you are different. There's something special about you because you've got that little spark of God called a consciousness, where you can ask big questions and think about life. The first man was created in the image of God because inside he had a little bit of God's Spirit. But he was alone, and God decided he needed a wife. And he created them male and female. And these people became the ancestors to all the humans on earth. Now there's a very famous painting. That painting is on top of the Sistine Chapel in the Vatican Museum, and it's right painted on the ceiling by Michelangelo. He called it the creation of man. Now, of course, he knew that God didn't look like that, and Christians do not think that God looks like that. Nobody has ever seen God, and he thought, how can I actually represent God? God must be very old if he started living before the creation of the earth, so he drew him as an old man. Christians don't think God looks like that, but he created him. You know, if you think about yourself, you are created in the image of God. Now, if you looked at that painting, you would never say, that painting created itself. No, you'd know that a person painted this painting. Just like if you look at our beautiful planet, you can see that it was created by God. What I'd like you to do is to please go to Google Classroom, and there you will find the activities that are related to this topic. Please complete them and submit them to Google Classroom.